Oh boy. Okay, so Beerfar says, love how Emily ties. Let me try that again. Love how Emily tries. Gosh dang it. The word is ties. Ties. She ties all of the characters together except Lorem. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Lorem is a backer character, and he was probably inserted into a story that was already being developed. Probably already planned out. Anyway, soon we arrived at our destination, and oh, hello there, Wolfie Packy. Welcome to my stream. You're just in time for the finale of this playthrough. Anyway, soon we arrived at our destination, and everyone chose their hiding places. It wasn't easy, especially since we didn't know where Reza would come from, but with a bit of scouting help from Adine, they all found suitable places eventually. Well, that, answers that question I had earlier about hiding places. I went inside, trying to remember the room the generator was in. Luckily, I had plenty of time, and when I found it, I packed it up in a cardboard box that was lying around, just as Reza had done so many times before. Then, I waited. Knowing of the various conversations we had in other timelines when we met here, I could think about what I was going to say and what his likely response would be. I also found it interesting that this time, I could be the one who was here first. Yeah, hopefully these leeching memories between timelines does not result in Reza remembering that I was against him every single time. After a while, I heard footsteps outside. As if on cue, I took the box with the generator and opened the door. Reza! You're here? You don't know how glad I am to see you. I wanted to talk with you for so long. Where have you been all this time? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. You know, there was one ending in which we actually brought Reza back in time. Would be funny if this was that Reza. Although I'm not entirely sure how these time travel shenanigans actually work. Are we physically going back in time, or am I becoming the person that I'm going back in time to? Not really certain. The time travel shenanigans in this game are just a little bit confusing. But talking can wait. Now that you're here, we've got everything. Come on, help me with this and let's get out of here. Reza walked up to me and grabbed the other end of the box. Slowly, we made our way through the building. I can't wait to get out of this place. It gives me the creeps. How so? Let's not ask questions, let's not dwell on it, let's just get going, okay? Ever since I arrived here, a lot of weird things have happened. I don't like it. What are you talking about? Something strange is going on in this world. When I close my eyes, I see things. Things that never happened, and things that later turned out to be true. Do you know what I'm talking about? So you do. How is that possible? I don't know, Reza. I had my own reasons for coming here today. I knew now would be the best time to take the generator and leave through the portal. What about you? They aren't looking for you too, are they? No, they believe I'm on their side. Then, what are you doing here? I had a feeling you'd be there. I figured it out just like you did. We can't wait for them to build us new generators. Considering they took the PDAs and generators back from you, it's more than fair that we take this as payment and be done with it. Wait a minute. What is it? Something's not right here. Yeah, I knew this was going to not work out as soon as this conversation started. Gosh dang, he needs to stop doing that. Suddenly, he let go of the box, making me put it down. He took a few steps back before he grabbed his gun and pointed it at me. Reza, what's wrong with you? How could you even know the time I was going to be here? Because of the fireworks. We both know they give us the perfect cover to do this now. No, that's not it. We've both been here before. I remember us carrying out the box together, and that time, you killed me with my own gun. That must be a timeline that I didn't get to experience myself. Reza, what are you talking about? It's all coming back to me now. There's not been a single time where you actually wanted to help me. Buford says that's from the evil ending. I kinda figured. That girl with a mask. Where is she? What? Ask and ye shall receive. Reza turned around, just in time to see the administrator tackle him to the ground. Oh gosh dang it. I ran towards them, but in their scuffle, a few gunshots unloaded. The telltale hiss of the generator sounded through the hallway. Yes, the generator which we need in order to ensure that we win. I turned around and ran towards the exit while both Reza and the administrator scrambled to their feet and followed me. When we were all outside, I was swept off my feet as the generator exploded. Recovering from the fall, I looked up, only to see Reza running towards the portal. Suddenly, Adine swooped in from behind and collided with Reza. He stumbled and fell to the ground while Adine regained her balance and ascended, attempting a circle to face him again. Oh! Hi, Maverick! I didn't think you'd actually be a part of this ending. Reza stood up and raised his gun at her when Maverick suddenly pounced out of nowhere and pinned him to the ground. By the way, I'm gonna have to ask you not to eat him this time. Bryce was running towards them when Maverick looked at Reza, growling. Don't kill him, Maverick! And why not? After what he's done to you, you're not letting him off the hook that easily, are you? Let me cuff him. Go ahead. When I arrived, Reza was already secured and ready to go. He spotted me, his face contorting with anger. You! How could you do this to me? To everyone! You have no idea what I had to do to get here. To get this close of bringing the generator home and to our people. If you had only helped me instead of them, we could have done it too. Where were you when that lump of a dragon bit me? When I couldn't do anything but lie around in pain the whole day with a festering wound, huh? And when I waited for you at the portal a week ago, ready to leave with parts I stole to repair it. when I shot my gun a few times, hoping you'd hear it so we could escape together. I risked everything when I waited for you. Maverick nearly got me that time, too. I could have left without you if I wanted. I had everything I needed, but I didn't want to just leave you behind. Should I shut him up? No, let him talk. If anything, I'm kind of curious about hearing these endings that I didn't get to experience. You said we would do anything, that together we could save humanity. All those teleportations messing with our heads. Don't you remember our plan? I never forgot about our plan, Reza. I just wanted the dragons to be part of it too. What are you going to do now, huh? You'll see. Humanity's going to be fine, and so are you. Take him away, Bryce. I just want to know one thing. Who really sabotaged the portal? That was me. Oh. I knew it was Reza who was stealing the generators, so the least I could do was prevent him from sending them to humanity and escaping through the portal. As long as it didn't run, he could never completely get away from us. Say it. You were right about nearly everything, Maverick. Just not about Erika. Still, it took an extraordinary amount of bravery and courage to do what you did. Who knows how all this would have turned out if it wasn't for you. It feels so strange to me now, but it's like I just had to follow... Reza, that I even knew where to go and where I would find him. I followed my intuition, but the longer I kept pursuing him, the more I thought I was going crazy and that it might mean my end if I decided to go down this path. Yeah, 50-50. Maybe that wasn't just your intuition. Come on, do you want to help me show Reza his new cell? It would be my pleasure. Just as they went off with Reza, I saw Remy and Lorm approaching. Izumi was leaning against Remy while they walked up to us together, her overalls bearing a large red stain in the center. She needs help fast. I tried to give her some first aid, but I don't think it did much. I hope the best ending at least also includes Izumi surviving. That is one hope that I kind of forgot to mention at the start of this stream. Sorry, I wasn't thinking of you. Based on these wounds, I'm not sure if anyone can help her now. She's right. I won't be around much longer, and there are still things I need to tell and show you, Erika. Maybe I could carry you. No, we have to go alone. Alright, can you all wait for me here? Sure. Please, just don't start arguing again. There would be no point now that we've stopped Reza. It's all good. She actually managed to convince Maverick not to kill him. Ex-boyfriend, and he still listens to me. Isn't that funny? Here I thought it was Bryce who convinced him not to kill him. I mean... I could tell you about Emily while we wait. That would be lovely. I did not expect us to go into the forest. Izumi led the way as we walked through unfamiliar territory. Maybe I should start by telling you that I haven't been exactly truthful with you. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's fine. Still, now that we are here, I think I should tell you everything. When I was accidentally sent back in time, I wasn't alone. What are you talking about? No, I swear, if Izumi turns out to be my mother... Did you really think a single person could have accomplished everything I told you about and single-handedly figure out time travel along the way? We were an elite team sent to break new ground. There were 4 of us. Heinz Foreman, geneticist and project lead. Sybil Thomas, behavior specialist. Francois Bordelon, military advisor. And lastly, me, Otomo Izumi, engineer and maintenance crew. Okay, so it wasn't just a coincidence that your name was included in that answer with Anna's game that I played with her. That actually is your full name. This is the kind of job that is so top secret that I wouldn't be surprised if we were all killed after we hand over the data. Good thing we're not expendable, huh? You think they're sending us into the middle of nowhere without seeing us as expendable? People, please. First of all, you were briefed about this, so you should already know what your duties will be. I'm sure all of you are well qualified to perform as expected, but let's get to what this project is really about. Does anyone want to make a guess? Since I am here, it can only mean something with military applications. Good guess. Ms. Thomas? Does it have anything to do with PTSD, perchance? Not quite. How about you, Ms. Otomo? I have no idea. Just get to the point, please. Let me sum this up in one sentence. Intelligent, trainable bioweapons as low-cost alternative to mechanized weaponry in developing countries. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, this conundrum we find ourselves in might actually work out in our favor. Since we are outside of any jurisdiction now, that means we can do whatever we want during this little project of ours. Just think of the opportunities. So you intend to utilize human DNA in this project, don't you? I thought they would do that anyway, and pay off whichever country we would find ourselves in. Yes, but now we won't even have to do that anymore. It will take me a while to repair all the damage and re-establish communications with the company. Until then, we're kinda stuck here. Alright, so at this point they've already figured out that communication was lost. Who says we need to wait until then? I don't know. I don't think they'd like it if we just went ahead with the project before they even know what happened to us. Sometimes, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's how you end up in jail. What else are we supposed to do while we are here? If worst comes to worst, we can just destroy the results. Heck, if this works out, we are the only ones who have a portal into the past like this. It could be only the first of many incredible opportunities. Think about all the animals we could use. The raw materials and plants, even the atmosphere. I can already smell all the rare gases here that we could harvest. I think that's just the ventilation system being wonky. I haven't had the time to adjust it yet. You're only thinking about the company, but what about us? Already thinking about mutiny? I think that would be a bad idea. I thought our salary already contained an eternal loyalty and silence bonus. That's the thing with greed. People always crave more, regardless of how much they already have. All this discussion is pointless. I'm the team lead, and I decide we do this. Just to double check. Yeah, I had a feeling I would lose track of who was saying what. These name colors are not different enough for me to so easily differentiate between them at a glance. So that was Francois, who's talked about greed. This is Heinz. And now back to Sybil. As long as you take responsibility if there are any troubles. I know what the company wants, and I say this will make them more than just happy. In a few years, you will thank me for it. Trust me. If you say so. If we were going to make bioweapons, what animals would we have based them on if we didn't end up here? The great thing is that we don't have to choose. We already have technology that does all the work for us. We just need to provide the samples, and based on our criteria, we get a customized genome that fits our purpose as best as possible. And you want to give them human intelligence? Why wouldn't we give them as much intelligence as we can? If they can think too advanced, too abstract, don't you think they might start to have independent thoughts? How are you going to control them? That's what Ms. Thomas and Mr. Bordelon are here for. With the right training, it shouldn't be an issue. Besides, you know that most human soldiers are obedient, right? I suppose so. So, how do we know this is going to work with dinosaur DNA as well? We will find out soon enough. Should we? That is not a question we ask at this company. You should know that by now. Have you ever seen Jurassic Park? If you want to see Jurassic Park, you only need to open that door. You will soon find that all your concerns are unfounded, and I'll show you why. But first, let me talk about abilities. Now that we have a whole new world of potential samples, we should be able to find even better alternatives to what we have been planning. What abilities would those be? Flight, armor, fire, to name a few. All at once? That sounds an awful lot like dragons. Dragons are scary, aren't they? This could even be a psychological component. To be fair, getting all of those into the same species could be complicated. You think you can do something nature couldn't? That's why we're here. What animal is the fire ability based on? The bombardier beetle. We're going to make the mechanism safer and easier to control, though. Alright, so we're going to combine animal strengths with higher cognitive abilities. But how are you going to prevent others from stealing the genome? Backyard breeders could be a problem. A very good question. There are a number of safeguards we are going to introduce to prevent any unauthorized copying of our product. Firstly, there is the genome itself. Raising these creatures from infancy to a point where they become usable for their purpose will take some time. Since we are going to do this ourselves, we have a unique blend of hormones to make them reach this stage fairly quickly. Making them grow up naturally is something that will take so much time and resources as to become unviable by anyone who would want to go that route. With us, they can be combat ready in months instead of years. I wonder if the dragons we've been meeting with and have had fast childhoods or not. I'm kind of under the impression, maybe not. Secondly, all creatures will be equipped with a brain implant. Not only will this give them a variety of advantages, but it's another safeguard against copying as well. Without the chip, they will either become uncontrollable or die. So, even if the genome is stolen, that won't be worth anything without the chip. That's genius. I know. Couldn't someone just hack and reverse engineer the chip and manufacture it themselves? I doubt it. They're intended to be sold in low technology areas. Even if they can reverse engineer the chip, they don't have the facilities to manufacture them. Otherwise, they'd just be using combat robots like everyone else. You want to modify their behavior with technology? Being dependent on a chip sounds dangerous. What if it fails? Don't worry about that. Beaufort says the dragons bred naturally, so they grew up at a normal rate. Gotcha. Lastly, there is the training. Training any living being, no matter if human or not, takes time and money. Not only do we have an automated training program, but we can also use the implant to accelerate this process. What about direct transference of knowledge into the creature's brains via the implant? The technology is still in its infancy. If we want to get this product out and into the market as soon as possible, we'll need a solution that works right now. Fair enough. It will give the user full control as well. The creatures will be able to learn from experience, but undesirable memories can be wiped easily. You know, I'm kinda glad that this plan of theirs did not work out in its entirety. Sounds like you have it all figured out already. The company has been working on this project for a long time, and now it's up to us to make it reach its natural conclusion. And what would that be? Our product is the creature, the chip, and the training. 3 separate things. Our product is the creature, the chip, and the training. All in one complete package. Take away just one of these 3 components and the product won't work as intended. We deliver them ready to be used in combat from the moment they arrive at the customer's doorstep. I still think we should wait before you rush into using animals that we hardly know anything about. Your opinion has been noted, Miss Otomo, but it won't carry much weight. Despite my objections, the experiments under Heinz Foreman went full steam ahead. Using the genetic material of many prehistoric reptiles, a variety of species were designed. We started our tests with the one that enjoyed the most combat-related improvements, measuring their viability and the effect of our safeguards. Soon, the first proto-dragons were born. One was to be raised as naturally as possible. Another was going to receive the hormones for accelerated growth, while the third one was to be trained via the automated learning program. The last one was to receive all of the safeguards at once. They were all identical clones. Caring for them was a task that ultimately fell on all of us, in addition to our usual duties. For now, the artificial domestication process on the genome made sure that they would be controllable and obedient, even without the implant or training. We were already being recognized as packmates and parents by them. While I knew about the added intelligence, I soon had to realize just how far they had gone. It was when the first of them started talking. At that moment, I knew that they would never be free, never be happy. They would only ever live a life of servitude or be used as weapons. They were given sapience, only to face a future of enslavement. I knew that the company would expertly maneuver around the legal system to make it possible. As I had worked my way up the ranks within the company, I had become increasingly disillusioned by the many despicable acts and projects I witnessed. But now I was at a breaking point, ready to blow the whistle on everything I knew about them. While the experiments continued, they relied on me to repair the portal and return to our time, and I could only buy so much time while I figured out how to proceed. I knew that as soon as contact was re-established, I wouldn't be able to stop the project anymore. It was then that I realized I had to do something. You'd think they wouldn't need to send someone to take care of this anymore. It should all be automated by now. True, we have a robot that can perform any kind of surgery, so they don't need to send a doctor anymore. Why not have a robot that can take care of other robots? Because I'd be the one to create that robot, and if I did, I'd be out of a job. By the way, I think the heater in my room is broken. Would you mind taking a look at it later? I could think of a few ways to turn up the heat. A tempting offer that I could unfortunately have to decline, Mr. Bordelon. What was Francois just now offering? I hate these early meetings. Anyone else want a cup of coffee? Ms. Otomo, perhaps? You know I don't drink coffee. 3 cups then, just as usual. I don't know why they even gave us 4. Here you go. Why even coffee? It's not as bad. It's not as if we couldn't just take a pill to get the same effect. Because people like coffee? Ah, but then you wouldn't get this lovely taste, Miss Thomas. I bet it's gonna be the last lovely taste you'll ever taste. Can we just get this over with? Of course, of course. Who wants to present their results first? No one? Alright, I suppose it will have to be me. Again. You know what? You should all be glad that everything is recorded and transcribed automatically now. In my days, we actually had to write these reports ourselves. Hail to our machine overlords. Can we just get this over with? Of course, Mr. Bordelon. We... Suddenly, Heinz started coughing. When his fit didn't stop after a few seconds, all of us stood up and Francois went over to him. Heinz kneeled over, his eyes opening widely into an unfocused stare. He stopped moving before a bit of foam started appearing at his mouth. He needs his injector. There should be one in the drawer over there. Quickly, I went to the drawer, grabbed something, and ran up to Sybil. That's not it, you stupid... Before she could finish her sentence, I drove the scalpel into her neck. She collapsed immediately as blood gushed out of the wound, staining the floor red. She screamed and Francois turned around to see me still holding the scalpel, while the bleeding Sybil lay on the ground next to me. I attempted to stab him, but he grabbed my arm and wrestled the scalpel from me, which fell to the floor with an audible clang. He then wrapped his hands around my neck and started to choke me. I fell over backwards and he followed, his hands never leaving my neck in the process. He was now kneeling above me, and I found myself becoming weaker by the second. I made peace with the idea that I was going to die. I didn't know what would happen afterwards, to the dragons, to Earth, to everyone, but at least I could say that I tried. When I came to, it was from feeling something dripping into my face before Francois was dragged away from me. Slowly, my vision returned. I looked up to see one of the dragons approach me before it started to lick my face with its blood-stained muzzle. Ah, in a kind of creepy kind of way. Dang! The other design species were made, and after making some adjustments to the learning program, it taught them what I wanted them to know. I founded the first village, and they grew up quickly, knowing only me as their leader. By the time I left, they didn't even need me anymore. They had become completely self-sufficient. So, in the end, you gave them even more than life. You gave them freedom. She sat on the ground, panting heavily. There should be a shovel over there. Take it and dig. I did as she asked, and began digging a hole in the area she indicated. I wondered what would await me when the shovel hit something hard and I dug around it, unearthing a vaguely round shape. More shapes followed, and as I continued, I eventually realized that I was looking at a body. I lifted it out of its shallow grave before turning it over. It was me. Why? How? You have to understand, there was no other way. Each time you traveled back in time, I had to kill you. Having multiple instances of you would have been troublesome. Well, that clarifies everything that I was asking earlier in the stream. I'm guessing that also means that one time we brought Reza back in time, he was also killed. We only needed one of you. One to go through the same scenario over and over again so that we could learn what to do differently. So this is your graveyard then, full of other instances of me. Oh gosh, how many me's are buried here? Not just you, there are also others, and myself. Others? Yes. In some timelines, they sent someone else instead of you. She was not a nice person. I wonder who. Why did they send someone else? They told me I was the best candidate as I was going to offer my own PDA for the trade. Because in those timelines, you died before you ever had a chance to arrive here. Murdered for that very PDA you gave to the dragons. How many are there? How many did you bury? How many times have we done this now? I lost track a long time ago. How I wish I could forget it all. You only did what you had to. Hey, Erika. Do you remember anything about the first time you came here? Let me think. Wasn't that the time I brought Lorem with me and all of us died? With all this business about remembering things that happened in other timelines, I don't know what to think of anymore. Then you don't. You only remember the newer timelines. I think it's better this way. As someone who hates memory loss, I'm not sure whether I agree with that or not. Though, I guess it's not necessarily memory loss in this case either. I'm not necessarily remembering things that happened to me in this timeline, or rather, oh, how to word this? Technically speaking, I never actually went back in time to lose my memory. I'm just remembering me's from other timelines. I've killed you so many times, and sometimes you did the same to me. Or rather, a different me. You don't know what it was like when I still had to try and figure everything out. You only remember timelines I have sufficiently tampered with. What are you trying to tell me? The first few times, I was just watching you. I could see your intentions were pure and that you were filled with determination. But without my help, you always failed. Everything that happened, from all the murders to the conclusion in the lab, it was all necessary to arrive here. I also needed to show you what kind of person Reza was. You wouldn't have believed me otherwise. Could I have stopped him earlier and saved those he killed? I don't know. If I died before I could reveal myself to you, circumstances could have been unfixable. How many times do you think we tried before we had even the remote possibility to succeed? I know what you did. I've done it too, remember? If you didn't step up to the position back then, we probably still would have to figure out a few things. Sometimes, I didn't quite know myself why I had to do the things you told me to do. If we didn't lure Maverick to the portal during my first day, the confrontation that sets off this whole chain of events wouldn't even happen. Your meeting with Reza had to be interrupted. Otherwise, he would have told you about his plan that night. And from the ensuing talk, there would have been only two options. Either you would have joined him to save humanity while leaving this world to die, or you would have opposed him, in which case he did not hesitate to shoot you then and there. We had to do a lot of things to make this happen, didn't we? All those other timelines, just to succeed in this one. The others might have failed, but we still learned something from every little mistake we made. That's how we could arrive here. What will you do now? With the generator gone, we won't be able to stop the comet. Maybe we don't need to. What are you talking about? Back home, there are plenty of empty buildings. If the dragons took their generators and technology with them, we could revive all the infrastructure, the hospitals, schools, everything. They could make humanity an offer they won't be able to refuse. You want to relocate them? Do you even have any idea how many dragons live here? Sure, they may have never settled on another continent, but we are still talking about millions here. Even if they won't accept them, they will have safe passage to set up a new city. I don't think it will come to that, though. We have plenty of dead infrastructure and room to fill. It could be the very first city of its kind, with dragons and humans living together. Besides, if we can't stop the comet, this is about as good as it's going to get. I know you won't settle for anything less. If this is the only way, then I won't object to this outcome. The thought of humans and dragons living together is one that I think bears a lot of potential. Maybe from the ashes of both civilizations, something new and greater can be created. You don't realize the weight that's been on my shoulders from all the things I had to do to make this work. Now that we are here, I don't think I could continue this existence with these memories in my mind. Okay, so... you haven't necessarily gone back in time yourself. You're doing all these things because you have the memories of others yous who have tried in other timelines. Now that we have saved them, I can finally rest. I'm still not entirely certain what my plan is here in regards to trying to save millions of dragons from the comet. Am I actually going to be able to rescue all of them? Maybe the issue is less bringing all the dragons out of the past, and more so finding room for them in the future. Which I have explained that is not necessarily an issue, because, well, most of humanity has died off at this point, it seems like. Maybe I have to apologize. You were right to want to save humanity too, but when both me and Reza only cared for one civilization. You never settled for one. You wanted to save everyone. I guess I was so blinded by wanting to preserve my creation that I refused to see anything else. I'm glad you saw this through to the end. You never stopped believing. If it wasn't for you, I could have never done this. And now it's on you to make it work. A city of dragons and humans. I'll try to do my best. I believe you will. Then I can die happily, knowing that they will be safe and can look to a brighter future. No, you can't just die now. How am I supposed to do this without you? Don't be sad for me. I wouldn't have it any other way. Besides, I'm sure you'll do a fine job. How can you be sure I will? Because if you don't, I will hold you responsible for what happens to them, through time and space, if necessary. How can you make jokes at a time like this? You have only seen what I had to do, not what I wanted to. If we met in a different time, a different place, things could have been very different. I have killed you so many times and put you through so much anguish to make this happen. I only long for your forgiveness and understanding that you can look at what we have achieved now and tell me that it was worth it. It was. Thank you. She closed her eyes as a single tear ran down her face. I moved to wipe it from her, and could already feel the warmth draining from Izumi's body. She was dead. After being told of the comet and realizing that any of their attempts to stop or redirect it would fail without the lab's generator, the Dragon's Council agreed with my course of action, as did humanity. While the repopulation of our city turned out very differently than humanity had initially hoped, all concerns were not against the possibility of the vast amounts of technology and generators the dragons would bring to revive it. Soon, the initiative to relocate the dragons to the portal was in full force, and I, still acting as an ambassador, helped as much as I could to make it go as smoothly as possible. After a few weeks, we had done it, and as the last of the dragons from even the furthest regions had arrived at the other side, the time for me had come to walk through the portal for the very last time. I looked back to their village and saw all the abandoned buildings, doomed to be destroyed when the comet would hit soon. As I walked up to the platform and waited for the portal to do its starting routine, I thought about what would happen now and what would come of this collaboration between humans and dragons. I was sure there was a lot of work to be done, especially if I considered the state of the rest of the world, but maybe our city could be a bastion of Earth. Not as the last one remaining, but rather as the first of its kind, and from it, maybe we'd be able to grow and spread our influence. Maybe, together, we can rebuild. The dialogue during that sequence was automatic, by the way, so I'm glad I was able to keep up. Anyway, that is the true end of Angels with Scaly Wings. Not done yet, by the way. I still have to do one other thing. There's an Easter egg that I really want to find, but... my gosh, what a game. That was really good. The time traveling stuff was still a little bit confusing in the end, but I get the gist of it at the very least. Oh boy, all the characters were interesting, or at the very least the characters on the title screen. And a few side characters like Damien here. A shame he had to die. It's very interesting how this game encourages multiple playthroughs. Not only guaranteed to get a bad ending during your first run, even if you know how to get a good ending. Although I'm not entirely certain whether that's the case. Maybe I could have gotten Lorm's good ending, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm not really sure what prevented me from getting Lorm's good ending the first run, other than the fact I didn't know how to get Lorm's good ending. But even once you know how to get any of the good endings, the game really encouraged you to replay the game to get an actual good ending, because, like I said, most of the endings, it kind of sucked. The only ending I would consider halfway decent as far as being good was Adin's ending. That was definitely a bittersweet ending. I kind of liked it. And how had I wound up with that ending as one of my first endings, I might have actually stopped there. But by the time I got to Adin's good ending, I was already intending to get the best ending. I'm also glad I never got to see my character. Even when that one time it turned out it was me pretending to be the administrator. Didn't reveal my face or anything, so I was allowed to envision myself how I wanted. Albeit, I had to envision myself as human, because that's the story. The world was really fascinating. Even despite the heavy human influence, there was still some interesting little differences in this world with the dragons, and there being different species and that sort of thing. Out of curiosity, who is everyone's favorite character in this game? Oh, I like that. Different, items for each of the main 5. Akiba's favorite character, of course, is Anna. When this adventure started out, my favorite character was Lorem, because he was adorable. Are we about to get a different title screen? We got an achievement. Hope. You have seen the true ending. Oh, does that mean that's it? That's all there is to see? Well, who knows? Either way, it might be a good idea to keep your save file. You know, just to be sure. Maybe it'll come in handy in the future. New title screen? New title screen. Oh, gotta go to the gallery. Hey, Beer Force. What is this one here? Also, the final gallery image is Izumi. I did not expect that. I expected a group photo. I already know that Beer Force's favorite character is Remy. Kiba is pointing out that Izumi is not on the title screen. Huh. Okay, I need to find that Easter egg. And yes, Kiba, my favorite character wound up becoming not Anna, is Adine. My favorite character wound up becoming Adine because she was really neat to hang around. The whole situation with her using her feet and being winged, and her character was interesting. Like I said, I like that her ending was actually an enjoyable ending. And specifically, how it left me living with her. I'd probably join her in helping out with the hatchery, which, by the way, is another fascinating thing about the world. Okay, we'll see this scene one last time. This image. Boop. Anyway, I want to get back to the park, because I'm told that if I look in the grate after seeing the true ending, there'll be something different there instead of the bloodied up bandage. Visit Tetsu Park. By the way, I definitely did not get all the achievements. There's at least 10 of them that I have not gotten, and I assume 5 of them are getting the bad endings for all the characters. The evil endings, and I have no intention of doing that. If y'all want to be a jerk, you can do it yourselves. Somewhere is a link to the game. Did Nightbot link the game during this stream? No. Gosh dang it, Nightbot, you need to do your job. Okay, look at the map. Tatsu Avenue. Open the hatch. First button. Second button. What do y'all think is going to be in here? Maybe a photo or something? Well, there's definitely something down there. A lot more glowy than before. And the music changed too. Beneath the hatch, a strange-looking orb of darkness was floating in the shaft that leads down to the maintenance tunnels. As I looked into the pitch-black center of the orb, I felt strangely drawn to it, its low hum beckoning me to come closer. I'm touching it. Please do not delete my PC. Gosh dang it, what did I just say? I guess it's giving us the opportunity to watch the opening cutscene again. This is right after I exited the portal. It was a dragon! And as I could now see, a dragon who not only had a pair of round glasses, but also wore a burgundy tie around its neck. But not a shirt. In the name of our people, I bid you welcome. If I may introduce myself, I am Remy, your guide and ambassador, a representative of our council. The dragon spoke. It was one thing to have heard and read about this, but something else entirely to have one standing in front of me, in flesh and blood, in tongue. It was good that all my mental preparedness had disappeared when I was teleported, because nothing could have prepared me for this. Sorry, I imagine you might still feel the effects of the teleportation. Drowsiness or weakness is not unusual, as is fainting and spontaneous emptying of your bowels, bladder, or stomach. How do you feel? Rendered speechless, I had totally forgotten that I was shouldering the burden of representing my people to them as well. So much for being professional, but at least he gave me a good excuse for my blunder. I think I'm alright. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Maybe we should go before it gets too dark. Come with me, please. There's gotta be a payoff at the end of this. So I followed the dragon, not straying too far from him, as the sun had already departed for the day and the remaining light diminished by the minute. There's the comet up there. I wonder if that was noticeable originally. Probably, but I didn't notice it. It is getting hard to see where I'm going. Sorry about that, but we had a good reason to schedule your arrival like this. We did not want you to be ambushed by a crowd, so we had to keep your exact time and date of arrival secret. Thanks. I suppose an event like this would make me a celebrity of sorts. It would be the same if one of you came to us. That's quite an understatement. Some people here are rather superstitious. They might regard you or any of your kind as divine, I suppose. Well, I can definitely understand that now. Really? How so? We do have certain myths that involve humans, and as such... No, I suppose the history lesson will have to wait for another time. Here we are. By this point, it had gotten so dark that I could barely make out the building before us. I briefly wondered whether they might have streetlights or elsewhere, or if they just did not require any due to possible enhanced eyesight or night vision. I could vaguely see the dragon, his light color still visible within the blackness that engulfed the area, rear up and manipulate the door handle with one of his forepaws. Hinges creaking, the door opened, and with the flick of the switch, the apartment was flooded with light, blinding me after all the time we had just spent without it. This is where you will live for the time being. It is fully stocked, but in case you need anything else, I left you a note with a few phone numbers. It is getting rather late, so I will have to take my leave now. In any case, someone will come and meet you tomorrow morning. Thank you, Remy. Have a good night. Until we meet again. With a nod, Remy left the apartment, mindful enough to close the door behind himself. Surveying the room, I considered the events that had just transpired as my gaze met the window. I could see movement outside, and as I drew nearer, startled, I could hear footsteps in the grass, moving away quickly. Assuming it must have been the dragon I just met, I thought nothing of it as I went to bed and slowly succumbed to the sweet allure of sleep overdue. I bet it was Izumi. I spent a few moments thinking about my role, my mission, and what it meant to be here now. Oh boy, it is so weird to be seeing this scene again, now knowing everything that is going to be transpiring. I was eager for the adventure to come. I doubt it matters which of these options I choose, but I'm choosing this one. So many possibilities and prospect raced through my mind. Truth be told, the thought of being able to meet an entirely new species and civilization excited me, as I was going to be one of the first to truly experience their society with its own little quirks, differences, and similarities. I couldn't help but feel like some sort of modern Vasco da Gama or Marco Polo. There were definitely a lot more similarities than I expected, though I certainly understand why now. And oh boy, the little quirks and differences. Maybe I would even write a book about the whole experience after it's all over. I was sure it would become a hit, all things considered. At any rate, this was going to be fun. I suddenly awoke to the chill of the cool outside air. The stars of the night sky were the first thing I saw as I found myself being dragged along the ground. Well, this didn't happen. When I exclaimed in surprise, the movement suddenly stopped. I looked around and saw that Izumi was watching me. Izumi, what are you doing? I'm sorry, you were supposed to be asleep and not recognize me. I suppose things are different this time, but at least that means I won't have to carry you. Come on. Are you about to kill me? She led me through unfamiliar territory as we walked through the land for several minutes. Shrouded in darkness, I felt a little uneasy as it was hard for me to follow her. This is the day of my arrival, right? You remember, don't you? In that case, maybe you can help me with this. She handed me a shovel that she had picked up from somewhere. Oh gosh, I'm not about to bury my own dead body, am I? It gets rather tiring having to do this on my own every time. I'm not as young as I was when this all started, you know. What am I doing here? Is this going to be your grave or mine? I don't know that yet. There's no shortage of... My gosh, this is a weird discussion. There is no shortage of bodies that will need one. So, what do you remember? Everything. I remembered you showed me this place before. The graves. That time, we also achieved our goals. Together. So they are safe? What a comforting thought. As good as that may be, however, having achieved our goals in another timeline doesn't help us here. In this one, we have to do it all over again. If you still have that knowledge, we should have no trouble doing the same thing here, though. Maybe we could do even more than that. What are you talking about? Come on, I'll show you something. How long is this Easter egg going to be? Oh, this scene looks familiar. So, this is where you live, huh? Indeed. Hey there, Kotiri! Thank you for the bits. That is awesome of you. It's a little fancy for a hideout, I'd say. This building used to be a prison before they moved the inmates to a bigger facility. Apparently, this one didn't get much use. They are planning to repurpose it, but you know how bureaucracy works. It will be a while before they'll have made up their minds. For the time being, we're safe here. And what do we do now? I have some things that need to be taken care of. Here, you can use my computer in the meantime. Just be nice to him. Are we about to meet the Reza that was brought back in time? Reading global performance level. Access denied. At least 60 achievements are needed to override security clearance. Aww. I'm like really close, I know that. I think. Okay, I'm about to open Steam. But the last time I opened Steam while I was streaming, that crashed the stream. So be right back if that happens. Okay. Am I still here, by the way? Oh, I'm not even close to getting 63... Bleh. I'm not even close to getting 60 achievements. I'm at 52. Which means if I want 60 achievements, I am going to need to get a couple of the evil endings. Yeah, screw that. Incidentally, let's see here. Achievements I'm missing. Nuisance. Refused to help Bryce 99 times. Disrobement. Get Adine to remove her headgear. I thought she did that in the shower scene. Must be another scene I can do that. You are a winner. Beat Sebastian at his own game. Not quite. Leg stretcher. Stretch your legs. No idea where I would need to do that. Research material. Look at Bryce's magazine. And 6 hidden achievements. I really don't like when games do the hidden achievement bullcrap. How am I supposed to find them if I don't know what I'm looking for? In case you're wondering, the answer is Google. Which makes hiding the achievements pointless because I'm going to look them up anyway. Okay, well, if you guys want a reason to play this game, there you go. Find out what the game is hiding from me and let me know, will ya? Did you find anything? No, I couldn't get in. Oh. Well, that's a shame. I thought you'd have the memories we'd need in order to access a certain piece of information contained within. Sorry to disappoint you. Don't worry about it. It makes my choice all the easier. Oh, you're about to kill me, aren't you? You see, whenever one of you travels back in time, I'm the one who has to decide with whom to continue the timeline. Are you saying that... Yeah, I guess that means you dug your own grave after all. No, you can't just... Don't worry, it'll be over soon. In a way, I can't help but envy you, because your journey ends here, whereas I have to continue doing this for who knows how long. You can go home. Why do you sleep now? Well then,